for this Climate Justice Working Group meeting. Today, we're going to focus primarily on our next steps and future meetings for the Climate Justice Working Group, and what those will all look like. Next slide, please. So just to go over meeting procedures, as per usual, for anyone who's observing these proceedings, either live or via WebEx, this is a meeting for the Climate Justice Working Group. This is not a public hearing or forum. We will not be taking testimony or questions from the public during this meeting. Only Climate Justice Working Group members are permitted to discuss, deliberate, and vote on any notes or minutes or make any statements. If you are attending, we ask that you remain respectful of the proceedings and refrain from raising your hand or attempting to draw attention or interject in any way. For folks who are participating in this meeting, as always, we want to try to reduce noise to the extent possible. So please, if you are not speaking, please remain muted. Raise your hand and we will unmute your room. Since this meeting is broadcast via WebEx, please try to state your name before speaking for the transcript. And if you are remote, with your name visible, if you are attending remotely from home, if you are in a physical location that's accessible to the public, it's fine. You don't have to have your name there, but please raise your hand and state your name before speaking. Next slide, please. So we're going to go over the agenda quickly. So we're going to start with a roll call. I don't believe we have a quorum present at this time, so I don't believe we're going to be able to vote on the minutes, but once we do have enough physically present Climate Justice Working Group members, we will vote on the minutes. We'll talk about the annual review of the criteria and what that looks like. We'll take a look at and have a little conversation about the draft bylaws that were sent out. Have a conversation about future meetings and what we are expecting, and then we will talk about next steps. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the agenda before we move forward? Don't see any hands up, so we will move forward. We'll start with a roll call. I'm going to start here in Albany with folks who are physically present in publicly accessible locations. Myself, Alana Cadell-Tucky. With me is Chris Cole.
Chris Cole from NYSERDA. Good afternoon.
Amy Klein.
Amy Klein from Capital Roots.
Now I'm going to start with the New York City Boardroom. I know we can't see you, but if working group members could announce themselves, please.
Hi, Elizabeth Firth here from DOL.
Hi, Sonal Jessel from WeAct.
Thank you. We'll move to the next person. I see Abby there. Hi, Abby. And I believe those are all of the folks who are at physically accessible locations right now. As I stated before, Jill, Hank, and Roa Uretian will be a little bit late, but once they are present, we can move forward with voting. We'll also go to folks who are on the line. Elizabeth Yampier.
Buenos días, Elizabeth Yampier, Arbros.
Hi, Elizabeth. And Neil Muscatello, sorry.
That's okay. Good afternoon. I'm here.
So as I said before, we do not have a physical quorum, so we will not be able to move forward with the vote on the minutes or deliberations. But since we have already voted on the final criteria, there's really not much to deliberate on other than the bylaws, but we can still have conversations. Next slide, please. So we're going to skip ahead for now to slide 7, which is the annual review. Next slide. As we stated in our last meeting, we're going to make sure that we're reviewing the criteria annually as we move forward. So that's going to be starting VC's, our New York State technical team. We're going to be constantly monitoring developments in data. Alex Dunn, apologies. Alex Dunn is on the line with us today. She and her group will be constantly monitoring data sources for us, assessing the availability of new data, tracking the DAC criteria data. And so we are going to make sure that, and also the data sources that are on our list for future consideration. So we're constantly going to be looking at updates to the existing data sets, which are census tract data, as well as any new data sets that could potentially come up. So after this assessment, we're going to share our findings with the working group members and provide you with our recommendations for how we feel we should move forward, if any. So for potential changes to indicators and methodologies, adding the data sets on, like, for example, diabetes, as we discussed, and then we'll convene the working group for a deliberation on the recommendations. So as well, as any others that members are really want to bring up at the time. So if there is a proposed change, it would have to be voted on by the working group. So we would need to have a fiscal quorum, very similar to what we needed for the final criteria. So we will be assessing the criteria with an eye towards how those provisions are being implemented. And just for folks who are listening, the impact is going to probably take a few years before it's actually, fully realized, so that we can measure and understand how this is working. So changes to the criteria, they're going to require a lot of a really strong, high administrative lift from all agencies to get them adopted and, make sure that these changes are realized, and to ensure that we have proper tracking mechanisms in place to be able to report out. So all of this is going to figure into our recommendation. So we just want to, does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns or even additions they want to add to how we feel that the review of the criteria should move forward? No? Okay. All right, so we shall press on. Making sure I don't see any additional folks. I'm constantly checking our panel, our participant list to see who else is here. So we'll talk about the draft bylaws. The next slide, please. So folks were sent the bylaws in anticipation of, oops, sorry, back one more. Sorry about that, we're not there yet. You were sent the bylaws in anticipation of our discussion today, and the purpose is going to be to codify the rules and procedures for the Climate Justice Working Group. So the proposed bylaws have a three. Oh, did I hear someone? No. Okay, I'll move on. So in the bylaws, we have a proposed 3-year term for Climate Justice Working Group members with the option of a subsequent term. And so that indicates that representatives that you can resign at any time. It outlines officers and legal counsel responsibilities, the powers and duties, meeting procedures, and provisions related to how we treat confidential information, and the procedures surrounding conflicts of interest and gifts. So, and I will also state that Lisa Covert, our attorney who works on our climate work, is also on the line if we have any questions regarding the bylaws. So it also incorporates the provisions from the resolution that we voted on in October. And it also addresses the recent amendments to open meetings law that allows for any members with a disability who are unable to attend meetings in person to count towards that physical quorum, provided confirmation of the disability is provided. So that will be in there. And for the bylaws to take place, obviously the majority of the working group members would need to approve the measure. We don't have a physical quorum right now, so we really can't discuss the bylaws and we can't really vote on it and deliberate on it, but I think that we can probably answer questions on it. So does anybody have any questions or major concerns that are jumping out with the bylaws just as they are right now?
I have a question. Yep. How it talks about how community representatives can resign at any time, but what's the process for replacing them?
So, and that's actually a really good point that you brought up, because we did have a climate justice working group member resign. Jonathan Brown left to go to Massachusetts. We wish him well, even though he did leave us for, I would say, a competing state that has the Red Sox in it. But so what we are looking to do is, because the CLCPA does state that we have to have members that represent specific areas at the very least, that we would make a recommendation for who we think would be best to fill that position, and then that recommendation would then be carried to the chamber. And this is actually an opportunity for working group members and folks to sort of recommend potential working group members who they think would be able to fulfill what we need. For example, right now, because Jonathan was a representative for rural communities across the state, we would need somebody who represents rural communities. And again, that could be located anywhere in the state, as long as that person represented rural communities. So if folks have any ideas or suggestions of people who would be good to work with and would be strong, passionate representatives for disadvantaged communities in rural areas across the state, we would love to hear those names so we could then raise that up to the chamber. There would be a vetting process that occurs with that, but that is how that would move forward.
And just as a follow-up to that, what if a situation arose that the person who was a working group member wasn't able to commit the time, but wanted somebody else on their organization to be that representative?
So we have had folks who have had delegates who have come in to represent them during meetings. I believe the only time we would actually need you to be there, and Lisa can jump in and correct me, is if we were voting on the criteria. So if we were updating the criteria and voting on that, we would need that working group member to be present for that vote. But when it comes to, just delegates for meetings, that's fine.
We could add something potentially in as like alternates that we could have for the meetings, if that's something that the working group would want.
And I'm being told that Eddie Eddie Batista is in New York City. I just wanted to recognize him. Hi, Eddie.
Oh, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. While I have the mic, can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
As we're looking at replacements, if Jonathan is the person we're talking about, I just want to urge folks to keep in mind the much needed diversity that we strive for with this working group. So if we're looking for a replacement for Jonathan, we should try to make sure that as we're looking for rural voices, if there are people of color who can make sure that we maintain the diversity that Jonathan helped contribute to, that'd be great.
Thanks, Eddie. I see someone walk into one of the regional offices. Sorry. Just keep track. Does anyone else have anything that they wanted to add on the, oh, Elizabeth, you had your hand up? Oh, you're muted.
First, I want to just say thank you for including language on accommodating people with special needs remotely. I really appreciate that. It's been a concern of mine for a while, and so I really do appreciate it. And then trying to get a sense of how much time or when will we be able to talk about either recommendations or changes in language for the bylaws if we're not voting on it today. Like what does that timeline look like? Is this a place where we could raise those concerns, or do we have to wait until we have quorum?
Lisa, could you chime in?
Sure. So I believe we are close to getting quorum now. I think we should wait until the we meet quorum to go into those further discussions and recommendations that you have. But Alana, could we move maybe to the next agenda item and come back to the bylaws? Would that be possible?
Actually, I think we have quorum now with Eddie in New York City. I think we have quorum.
So that's.
Yep,
Okay, great.
that's 7 of us. So we could go back and vote on the minutes, but we can also hold that off to the end. And we can actually deliberate a little bit more on the bylaws. So if folks want to make suggestions and kind of go through that, we can do that now that we are officially at quorum.
Okay, if we can do it now, then I won't take very long. Is
For
everybody
sure,
good?
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, so, when I was looking at it, I was, I think, a little concerned with the idea of having a chair because of all the differences that exist across the state and how that may be processed. I thought maybe co-chairs. I thought maybe DEC would be a facilitator or maybe a steering committee. But the idea of having one chair in most of the formations that I sit on, we either have co-chairs or we have a steering committee. But the idea of having that one person who holds that responsibility becomes, for us, undemocratic in the sense that we want to make sure, for example, if the chair is from New York City, how do the people from upstate feel? If it's rural, how do the people from urban communities feel? I think that coming up with a different kind of leadership structure will be able to address any concerns, potential tensions, or issues of accountability that people may have moving forward. So I would recommend that we rethink what that post looks like and broaden it a little bit so that there's more shared leadership.
I won't take that personally, Elizabeth.
I think you've done a phenomenal job. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's the only remark that I have. It's been I was really really pleased with everything. So.
No, I'm just kidding. No, that's definitely something that we can take back and look at. Like I said, we don't need to vote on the bylaws today. We definitely wanted to make sure that we heard everyone's voice on this, that we are comfortable with what we're seeing before we, vote and finalize anything. Abby, you have your hand up?
Yeah, sure. So this is looping back on Amy's question from earlier. I think that was Amy. You're very small on my screen. But regarding the kind of selection nomination process, I don't think that was explicitly defined in the bylaws. And I think it would be helpful to have some language just to make sure everyone's kind of clear and on the same page about that. But I also wonder if maybe something a little more, in terms of process, robust around nominating and vetting nominees. I don't know if we need a nominating committee, kind of ad hoc thing. Yeah, that's all.
Thanks, Abby. It's definitely something that we can take back and discuss. I see that Ray Brook is on. Jill, are you with us? You're muted if you're speaking.
Hey, folks, can you hear me? I don't know if there was anyone else on Stack, sorry.
Can you hear me now? Okay, I was just recognizing Jill, if she's here, because the camera's not on in Ray Brook.
It looks like it's on now.
Okay.
Sorry, folks, I don't know when to jump in. Is Jill going to speak?
Oh, no, you can jump in. Yeah, I don't know
Okay,
if Jill is here or not, so go on, Eddie.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I just want to echo some of the comments that I've heard. And I too was struggling with the idea of the chair, and I didn't know, if having a state agency rep be the chair of a climate justice working group is, I don't know how to feel about that, and I don't know what signal that sends to New Yorkers, good, bad, or indifferent. But I was wondering, just a much more basic question. So this working group has been in operation for a couple of years now. I was just wondering, why are bylaws being suggested now? It's probably an obvious reason. I was just wondering why now after a couple of years.
Well, I guess we've kind of sort of been operating at a little bit of an ad hoc, vibe for a while. And I know that it was something that we wanted to institute from the beginning, but given the pandemic, we were trying to sort of move things forward as quickly and expeditiously as possible. And then as we moved on, it kind of fell by the wayside. So now that things have settled and we finalized the criteria, we thought that now would be a good time for us to actually go back and codify some of what we've been doing here and just sort of make sure that there is that rule structure in place, even though we've sort of had that rule structure in place in a very sort of, let's say, liberal way, just sort of make it a little bit more formalized now. So it's something that we obviously should have done earlier, but, apologies for getting to it now.
Thank you.
Abby, you were
Sorry.
unmuted. Oh, Jill, there you are.
I just want to make sure you could hear me. Sorry, I'm late.
Yep. Nope, absolutely, it's fine. Nice to see you.
You too.
All right. So does anyone have any other items that they feel maybe should be added? Is there anything aside from what was mentioned that we feel is missing that we think would make the bylaws that would solidify them more complete? Amy, sorry, my head is like.
No, that's okay. Not to beat a dead horse here, but in terms of representation, and I think I'm feeling extreme guilt because I've been missing from this group, but I'm looking at, item E and talking about, attending meetings, but there's kind of no teeth to that. And so what is the mechanism for removing a member, given that you need to have 7 people present to vote on anything and move anything forward? And so, I think there needs a more formal process so that the working group can actually get things done if people are not participating.
Okay. I know that we were purposely trying to not set too much in stone with that because we definitely wanted to have a conversation with you all about it. We wanted to actually have a dialogue about what that looks like. So if there are suggestions for a more formalized process or how that should look, definitely want to take those. Abby, you have your hand up.
This is Abby. Yep. I agree that kind of some additional clarity around that would be helpful. And just looping back to the first point again that Amy made, I have mixed feelings about the idea of, being able to send a substitute. And I'm just curious how other working group members feel about that. Because I think there is real value in kind of us regularly showing up and having the conversations together. And we could, kind of lose some momentum if other representatives are swapping in. But I also understand the, time constraints that everyone here is almost certainly facing. So curious just to hear from other working group members about that.
This is Amy
Hi,
again.
Jill. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Amy.
I would just echo that concern, Abby. When I heard that, I don't feel good about that. I think if the person representing really needs to be the person consistently coming or not coming, but I think it's very hard to, especially with complex issues like this, to understand and stay engaged and be effective working group member. If you're sending substitutes, I think that can be very hard. I've seen that happen with other, groups that I'm on, and it doesn't work well.
Jill?
Hi, this is Jill. I would agree with everything Amy just said. I think it's really difficult, especially given the context around the conversations that we have, to be able to send in a substitute. And if it's just a matter of sending a substitute so that we could have quorum, like we're still able to meet and have meaningful discussions without a quorum. We just, and typically what we vote on are minutes. So I don't see an urgency or necessarily a need to have a substitute.
This is Lisa. I just wanted to clarify that the quorum is required to deliberate. So if there's a decision that's being made about the criteria, not even just voting on a decision, but deliberations about the criteria, that would have to have a quorum present at the meeting to discuss the criteria and different opinions that everybody has.
Elizabeth?
Yeah, I'm sorry if I missed something. I was distracted here. Is what I'm hearing that members don't think it's a good idea to have someone delegated to take our place on this body? Is that what I'm hearing? Or am I misunderstanding that?
What I expressed, Elizabeth, this is Abby, was just kind of, I have mixed feelings about it, like understand the pros and cons on either side, and was curious to hear from others.
Okay, so then what I would say is that for those people that work for environmental justice organizations, our capacity is almost always limited because we are extended, we're stretched very thin. And so being able to have someone who can take our place in these moments is tremendously important. So if what we want is authentic environmental justice representation, we're going to have to be able to build in some capacity for us to be able to exercise leadership. And that means having the ability to have someone take our place.
This is Jill again. First, Lisa, thank you for the clarification. I'm not opposed to having proxies. I personally will very likely not take advantage of that, but I think if it is a need for others, I have no issue with that.
Does anyone else have any concerns, additions that they would like to make to the bylaws? Okay, so what we'll do is we will take all of those suggestions, we will take those back. We'll look at it, redraft, and send those back out to you to take a look at again. And Eddie?
Sorry, just a friendly amendment. When you guys take some of these recommendations or thoughts back, maybe what I'd like to see, I'm ambivalent myself about proxies. I get Elizabeth's point. I also know that it could be difficult to get business done. My one, I guess, recommendation would be if we go down the proxy road, it's on the organization, whoever is actually deploying a proxy, they need to make sure that proxy is ready to engage. It can't just be a proxy that just shows up and has no clue about what's going on and is unable to deliberate.
So you'd like some sort of standards for the proxy?
Appearances to the contrary, yeah, I have a little bit of standards issues.
Thank you, Eddie. Does anyone else have anything they want to add before we move forward?
Hi, it's Jill again. I just have a question, and I apologize if this was covered before I joined. Is there a process outlined for appointing new Climate Justice Working Group members? I see the requirement for who needs to be represented, but I don't necessarily see a process in choosing that person.
We did. So what we're doing now is what we've done before is we've made suggestions for folks that have fulfilled those specific areas that are required under the Climate Act. Then we raised those people up through the chamber. There's been a vetting process, and that's how folks were placed on the Climate Justice Working Group, paneled on the working group. So moving forward, we definitely want to make sure that we're getting a good crop of people to participate. So we would love to take suggestions. So if people do have folks, like I said before, Jonathan Brown is no longer a member of the Climate Justice Working Group. So he was a rural representative. We would definitely like to get some potential rural representatives suggested to us. We know that that list is not exhaustive in any way, and this could be somebody who represents rural communities on Long Island and other parts of the state. So if someone could send, if people have suggestions that they'd like to send, if folks have resumes, I know that somebody actually reached out to me not that long ago, and I asked them to just sort of send along their resume, CV, and, we could definitely raise that up moving forward. But I think that while there isn't an official process, we could definitely make it more official if you'd like to see that in the bylaws. But right now it really is just, taking suggestions and then moving those names forward.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a timeline for finding a replacement for Donovan?
Not right now. I don't think that there is, but we do need to have one as soon as possible, because we are supposed to have 15 people who are participating for the Climate Justice Working Group. So the sooner the better. So if folks do have people who are interested, or they have suggestions for folks who represent rural communities, to get those to me, you can send them just right to me.
Okay, thank you.
But like I said,
This
if
is
you'd like
Lisa.
to- Hey, Lisa.
Sorry, Alana. So I'm just asking, I just am curious if anybody from the working group has any suggestions on what they might see as a removal process for members that violate the bylaws. If you have any suggestions, we're definitely open to hearing them for drafting the next version.
This is Abby. I think for me, just meeting attendance really is a priority. We were definitely, through the earlier stages in our work together, missing some perspectives that would have been helpful. So, whether it's just a set number or I don't know, a friendly warning, and then but the expectation that Climate Justice Working Group members should be actively participating and engaged in the process, for me, is the highest priority.
Thanks, Abby.
This is Amy. Usually, in nonprofit bylaws, there's like a percentage of meetings that you're reasonably allowed to miss. I think it has to be defined as opposed to, just saying you're going to make it a priority. And, usually there is some warning process or associated with it.
Thank you.
Amy, if you have any suggested language from any bylaws that you've seen, I'd be happy to take a look at those and incorporate them in a proposed draft.
Yeah, happy to share that.
Thank you.
Sure, I get that on here. All right. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add before we go back and vote on the minutes? Okay, so we will take your comments and suggestions back, do a redraft of the bylaws, and make sure that those get out to you. And then we can discuss, once we've sort of worked through that, we can discuss coming back and voting on those. Okay? All right, if we could go back to the minutes. All right, this is just a vote on the approval of the minutes from our meeting that took place on, sorry, let's go back to my notes, from our previous meetings, meeting from April, was it 20th? And March 27th, April 4th, was it April 4th?
I think so.
Yes, April 4th and March 27th. So we're just voting to make those minutes, if they are posted, make them official rather than draft, and if others are posted, to just simply post them. Does anybody have anything that they wanted to add, or any amendments or any inaccuracies they see before we vote? Okay, hearing no amendments or inaccuracies in the minutes, I will move forward with voting to approve the minutes. Starting with folks here, President Central Office, not Central Office, Albany, sorry. Chris?
I vote to approve.
Amy? Are we going to abstain since I wasn't present? All right, we'll go to New York City. Elizabeth?
Approve.
Sonal?
Approve.
Eddie?
Elizabeth Firth is approved.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Eddie?
Approve.
Okay, and Elizabeth, I'm here, you said approve?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay. Neil?
Approve.
Jill?
I'll vote to approve the minutes.
Abby?
Approve.
And Rawa, are you in our Region 9 office?
Hi, Alana. It's Megan. She's almost here. She'll be here in about 1 minute.
Okay. We have the votes, and myself, I vote to approve. So with that, the minutes are approved, and we will move forward. Thank you, everyone. We'll make sure that the draft watermark is taken off of the minutes from our meeting on March 27th, and we will make sure to post the minutes for April 4th. I did learn that we can actually post minutes as long as it does say draft on it. So we can move forward for folks who are viewing and have been frustrated with the fact that the minutes haven't been up. We can make those minutes available a little bit sooner and use them as draft until we officially vote on them. Okay, so we could skip to our future meeting slide. So future meetings. As we're moving forward with this process, it's very new to me, and I'm sure it's new to everybody else. I definitely want to make sure that we have your input for what we want to see going forward. Next slide. So for us, I guess the biggest role in it is how often we'd like to meet, but we'll definitely get to that. Just to quickly go over what the current role is. There are very specific duties for the Climate Justice Working Group that are outlined in the Climate Act. Obviously, the most obvious one is the finalization and annual review of the disadvantaged communities criteria. There's also a consultation role for the implementation of DEC regulations to achieve greenhouse gas emissions reductions, which could include development of our economy-wide Cabin Invest program. There's also a consultation role for our air toxics and criteria pollutant emission reduction strategy that is due by June of 2024, on or before June 1st of 2024. And there's also a consultation role for state agencies' clean energy and energy efficiency investments pursuant to the Climate Act. So additional duties are also a consultation role with DEC. A lot of this is with us, so you don't get to get rid of me specifically. Consultation role on the study of impacts from urban heat island effects on disadvantaged communities. So that's just an idea of some of the work that we'll be doing. And before I move on, I want to recognize Rawa Gramatzian, who is with us. Hi, Rawa. So I know that we've indicated on multiple occasions that we want to make sure that meetings are pre-scheduled so that we already know it's already on calendars and that it's already there and folks don't have to constantly think about this or answer annoying doodle polls. So we want to make sure there's calendar efficiency. Already indicated that 90 minutes is really sort of ideal. Nobody wants to sit with us for 3 hours or even necessarily 2 hours. That's a lot. Considering everyone's schedule and the work involved and everything that we're going to be looking at, I want to definitely get an idea of what we think is the most efficient way to move forward. So I put this up here. There are, and you can tell by the color scheme what I prefer, but I really would like to see what you prefer. We have quarterly minutes, so maybe 4 minutes, quarterly meetings, maybe 4 meetings a year at 90 minutes. That makes it easier for us to stay engaged and constantly in contact. Those work for, and Lisa, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but for non-disadvantaged communities or direct work that is related to disadvantaged communities, do we need to meet the open meetings law?
No, if there are consultation roles that open meetings law does not apply, it falls outside of open meetings law.
Okay, so that's something to consider, that those additional meetings don't have to be in person. Those can just be through WebEx. So 90 minutes, maybe 4 meetings. Also, it's easier to schedule triannual meetings. So just the 3 meetings, still 90 minutes, are easier to schedule. We can just get those on the calendar. And again, for most of those, just meet through WebEx, obviously, for the review and any potential revisions to the disadvantaged communities criteria that would have to, meet open meetings law standards, and we would have to have public locations. But for others, we're good with that. There is also meeting twice a year, maybe a little bit longer for 2 hours. We'd have fewer meetings, but obviously there'd be more emails going back and forth. And then, clogging your boxes. And then last and my least favorite would be 1 full day annual meeting every year. So does anyone have any comments or thoughts on their preference for how this goes? Or does anybody have a different meeting structure that I haven't even considered?
I have a question.
Sure.
This is Amy. I'm just curious. I'm not understanding what the difference, besides 3 meetings versus 4 meetings, what the difference would be between the quarterly and triannual. You said something about having some of them via WebEx.
Mm-hmm.
So would the triannual meetings all be in person and the quarterly meetings half and half, or what would that look like?
So for the meetings that are just on the consultations, not on the actual disadvantaged communities criteria or revisions or anything like that, those would all just be WebEx. So if we're thinking, doing 3 meetings, we would be looking at 2 meetings that would occur probably through WebEx to go through all of our work through our consultation role, and then most likely 1 meeting that would definitely have to be in person. And for the quarterly, we'd be looking at 3 meetings that would most likely be virtual, and definitely 1 meeting that would have to meet the open meetings law standard for, publicly accessible. But as we get, further down and we're taking longer and, we have fewer meetings, we're looking at all sort of having to be in person. So for like a biannual meeting, it seems that it would be probably either 1-on-1, but if there was anything that did need to be voted on or did potentially need deliberation, we might have to have 2, public meetings or in-person meetings. And then obviously for the annual meeting, that would be 1 long in-person meeting.
So just going back to the issue of attendance at meetings, if you do biannual, basically if you miss one meeting, you kind of miss a
Right,
lot.
you're missing a lot.
Whereas if you're doing quarterly meetings and, even if you did miss every other meeting, not that I'm suggesting that that should be okay, but, there's, at least there's more activity happening, so you
Right.
could be plugged in more.
Right.
And this is Chris. I think the other thing that we should consider, sorry, Jill,
That's okay.
is you a lot of you mentioned a number of different consultative roles.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on, what we project to happen in a given year, there could be several different, conversations and, discussions that the group needs to have. And so, fitting those into, a smaller number of meetings might be difficult. So just to state the obvious, I guess.
Jill?
I was just going to say that I am fine with either quarterly or triannual meetings.
Thank you.
Hey,
Does
Alana,
anyone
this
else-
is Rawa.
Rawa.
Yeah, I'm also good with the quarterly or triannual.
Hi, this is Sonal. I lean towards quarterly just because I assume that we'll have things to talk about throughout the year because there's so much going on. So it might be nice to do quarterly.
Does anyone else have any strong feelings? One way or the other? I said my strong feeling is not the annual full day. I don't want to do that to myself or anyone else. I've been in those meetings, we've all been in those meetings, and they're not fun, and I can't even give you food, so so I'm glad that we're not getting a lot of wanting that full day meeting, because I can't even feed you. Or reimburse you for your travel, so.
Hey, Lana, this is Neil. I also think triannual or quarterly, for what it's worth, is preferable.
Thanks. So it seems that, quarterly or triannual seem to be more popular. We can definitely, like I said, we don't necessarily have to, this is not something we have to vote on. We could, I could bring it up in a, email if folks would prefer to think about it for, a few days and just email me with what you prefer. I think that's fine. Like I said, it's not something that requires an official vote, but I am seeing a trend towards the quarterly or triannual. So that's also the way I'm leaning. There is, I doubt we're going to not have enough to go over in that time period. So I think that that's probably the best bet. Is there anything that anybody would like to discuss further with our future meetings before we move forward? Just double checking, see if there are hands up and not seeing any. All right, next slide. So next steps. So as we again move forward, as I said before, I'll schedule, be sending out a doodle poll for another meeting, but we will look to finalize the bylaws. We will do a redraft and send those out to you so you have some time to really look into them. Even, do edits, make more suggestions before we look to finalize them. I would most likely look to schedule our next meeting in August, or if folks have a strong aversion to August, we can even look at September. Does anybody have any strong aversions to, or strong feelings one way or the other between August and September? Elizabeth?
Yeah, I would prefer August. I mean, I know fewer people are in town, but September is also when Climate Week is happening, and many of us will be involved in a lot of different organizing things.
Okay. All right. We have a vote for August. We'll basically be looking to do that, and also, move forward on sort of a series of different issues. Just to kind of quick throw in, since it has come up and it is definitely something that I know that everybody is aware of. In the final scoping plan, the Climate Action Council did recommend economy-wide cap and invest. So to be consistent with the recommendation, we are implementing that program. And we do expect the program to need to create a lot of financial resources in disadvantaged communities, including pollution reduction strategies. And we are absolutely looking to get more input from representatives, advocates on this program. I don't know if folks have been participating in the Cap and Invest webinars that we've been holding, but we have been moving forward with those. So we want to make sure that as we move forward, that we are adequately investing in disadvantaged communities, and that we're designing this program to actually create change and to sort of avoid some of the pitfalls that we've seen in other examples of Cap and Invest. So we have been hosting those webinars. Like I said, I hope that folks have been participating. They started on June 1st, and they are running through tomorrow. So if you do have an opportunity to participate and attend that meeting tomorrow on the 22nd, I would definitely encourage that. This is this is a first phase for this outreach. And it really is just to outline, elements of the Cap and Invest program, and to identify some specific areas where feedback is really, really important. So we've had 6 sessions that have covered, sort of like this overview. We've discussed natural gas, liquid fuels, energy intensive and trade industries, waste. And yesterday, there was analysis and analysis inputs and methods. So there's one more coming up, and that one is going to be focused on electricity. And that's from 1 to 3. If you don't have a link for that, I can definitely make sure that you have an invitation. The Cap and Invest website, capandinvest.ny.gov, is working now. I know that there were a couple of hiccups before where it might not have been coming up for everyone, but I can verify that it is working, even though I haven't checked it today. But I do believe that it is working. If folks would like to go to the website and just, view any of the prior webinars and submit comments, that's open. I definitely encourage you to get all of that information out to any folks that who would definitely be interested, especially in providing comments and how this program should be shaped. We really definitely want to get your input. Like I said, the goal is to make sure that this program is successful and it does actually yield benefits and greenhouse gas reductions for disadvantaged communities. And we definitely need your support in making sure that we do it right, where other places have, other states may not have done it correctly. We want to make sure that New York is the one that's actually doing it well. So the input that we're getting from the stakeholders during these rounds are definitely going to be employed in the development of the draft proposal, and that's going to have a public comment period, including hearings. So there are multiple opportunities to make sure that voices are heard, and there's nothing is set in stone right now. This program is still being shaped, and so there's definitely room to shape it appropriately. So for people who are on the line as attendees, best way to follow the process is through capandinvest.ny.gov. And like I said, the link is absolutely working. So, oh, look at that. I scheduled this for 2 hours and it was 1. I really did think we would have a much longer conversation about the bylaws. So that's on me. But are there any questions, comments, or concerns that anybody would like to bring up?
Hi, Alana, this is Sonal. I wanted to bring up one suggestion around the map, but I'm not sure when's the best time to bring this up.
Sure, now is fine.
Oh, okay. So I have a request, or just I'm floating the possibility, and I've heard this from a couple of other people as well. It'd be great to have a map of the disadvantaged communities that has an overlay of assembly and senate districts. And I'm wondering if that is at all possible to get done.
I think that's something that we can do.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey, folks, it's Eddie. Did we move on from Cap and Invest, or, I'm sorry, I'm still lost.
No, we can still talk about Cap and Invest.
So if I could share some reflections from our members and some of our allies, just a couple of items. One is, I've been saying this for a while, and it's not being, I think, absorbed by state agencies, but to continue to call this Cap and Invest when it's clearly a cap, trade, and invest program that the state is pursuing is misleading. And we urge the state to be, again, transparent and call this what it is. If it's cap and invest, then the trading is not part of it. If trading is part of it, then you have to call this cap, trade, and invest. Otherwise, it feels misleading. Secondly, I'm pretty certain this is the case, and if someone could look into this and let us know at the next meeting, I'm pretty certain this climate justice working group, when we were asked, voted in terms of how to pay for CLCPA, to adopt the polluter penalty model, not a cap, trade, and invest model, which is what the Climate Action Council decided to pursue. So it would just be helpful for the record to reflect that the Climate Justice Working Group did not endorse a cap, trade, and invest regimen. Thirdly, what I'm hearing about this webinar series is that it is exceedingly unhelpful, opaque, like the opposite of the transparency that we thought was attending this webinar series. I've been hearing from folks, it is difficult to understand what the state is thinking about. The state has had literally dozens of questions, but making it very difficult for people to provide feedback on those dozens of questions and components of what you all are looking at. So for what it's worth, and I think some of us may be meeting with some reps from DEC and NYSERDA on Monday, so we'll reiterate this there as well. But I just got to tell you, at least from what I've been hearing nothing but frustration from my members and folks that are active in this movement about the opaqueness of this process and the difficulty they've had in terms of suggesting frames for cap, trade, and invest. I'll stop there.
Thank you, Eddie. Unfortunately, John Binder, who was leading that process, I think he jumped off, but we'll definitely make sure that he has your feedback. And you said that you're meeting with folks, so like I said, yeah, definitely reiterate that, but we can definitely get that, that criticism over to him. Thank you.
It's Jill.
Sorry.
I just have a question, and I could take this offline. I'm just curious, excuse me, if any of the other Climate Justice Working Group members are having conversations with agency staff about how to implement the criteria. I'm involved in a lot of those conversations, and I would just be interested in having a conversation with any of you offline about it.
So part of that, this is Elizabeth Firth from the Department of Labor, and off of Sonal's suggestion. And I know there was an email with Tyler and some folks about getting a list of getting some kind of like GIS map that you can input an address and find out who's, if that household is in there, or batch doing that, because we're talking to unions right now And the feedback is, well, how do we do this? And we can't. So we'd like to also, I'm asking about update on that, if there's any update.
So Jill, could you just clarify what you mean by conversations about implementation? So you've been having conversations with state agencies about what that looks like, how to make sure that I guess it's that for energy and efficient investments or for permitting, could you just kind of expand on that a little bit?
Sure. So ANCA is a contractor and a subcontractor for a handful of NYSERDA and DEC programs. So with the official criteria, these programs are being redesigned to make sure that that is taken into consideration when they're prioritizing specific populations. So I am a part of those conversations, and in a lot of ways, I am the expert on this at the table, which, I should be because I'm on the Climate Justice Working Group, but also it's a perfect example of state agencies working in silos. And I've talked to Samir a lot about this. I'm sure that Chris is aware that I've been talking about this quite a bit. And I'm just curious, specifically around the geographic versus individual criteria, and how I know that the individual criteria is for investment only, which it has been explained to me a lot of times how that's different. But I think that this is a really important conversation around how impactful the disadvantaged communities criteria will be. And I'm just hoping to have a conversation and bounce some ideas and experiences off of people. So I guess specifically it's the Clean Energy Communities Program, which is a NYSERDA program, the Climate Smart Communities Program, which is the interagency program administered by the DEC, and the Regional Clean Energy Hub, which is NYSERDA. So all of those programs are trying to figure out how to best take into consideration the disadvantaged communities to make sure that the resources are spent appropriately. So I'm just wondering if anybody else is having those conversations.
Thanks for the clarification, Joe.
Yep.
And Elizabeth, you were kind of going in and out a bit. Could you restate what you were saying before? I'm sorry. You were asking for an update?
Yeah. Is it still going in and out?
A little bit less. I don't know. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo, but it's okay.
Okay. So I was asking about, also in addition to Sonal's point about the maps, is if there's any, or what the updates are on having some kind of database to put in an address or a batch of addresses to see who's in a DAC. Because that would be helpful as we're talking to unions and about hiring from DACs.
Hey Elizabeth, this is Tyler. So I have passed that on to the technical team. There is the one address lookup on the map, but we are looking into a way to batch process address lookups. So that is in the process, and I'm more than happy to connect offline on timeline and things like that. But I know it's a little more advanced than just a straight GIS lookup, since it involves feeding to a database through like VLOOKUPs.
Yeah, that would be great.
This is Chris. We can, so for all of the mapping kind of items, we'll send an update to the working group once we have modifications in place or as we make them, and give you a timeline for for this kind of bigger kind of tweak that Elizabeth, you and Tyler are talking about.
Great, thank you.
And folks, obviously, I don't need to tell you this, but you definitely can communicate with each other on all manner of items offline without, the interference of the state. So I definitely want to encourage you guys to keep talking to one another and communicating with one another and updating each other on things, especially with regards to Jill's inquiry, reaching out to one another and having conversations. We definitely we're working on trying to bust down silos wherever they exist, but I definitely want to make sure that you guys are communicating you know, without the, you know, the state sort of hovering about. All right, are there any other concerns that folks would like to bring up? And as usual, you can always email me or call me if you have concerns that you don't necessarily want to bring up here or things that you think are more appropriate to bring up offline. Definitely feel free to reach out to me, but if there's anything that you want to bring up now, any concerns or questions that you want to add before we close things out, definitely we can chat. Got another 50 minutes. Yeah, or you can have that 50 minutes back. I mean, if you don't want to talk to me, hurtful, but you can definitely have that time back. All right, I'm not seeing any hands up, so thank you everyone for jumping on this meeting. Like I said, we will definitely look to update folks on maps, on the bylaws, and get a poll out for a meeting in August. Feel free to email me with any concerns. You can also call me. I will not say my phone number over the WebEx, but I will make sure that everybody has it if you don't have it. And we'll talk again soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Alana. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Yeah.
See ya.